Here we are at the site of the sixth and final gourd, giant gourd on a platform. They're called hue in Maori, and it's got a big lid called the tokai. That was the lid the hollow, like a neck, that they put in the big gourd. So this is a model that'll go down at the landing site down at Kaiti Beach. So we're now finally sealing the big lid on so that nobody can climb in and light fires or get lost and get trapped inside the giant hui. And we've got a prayer and a stone, flint stone from Kaiti in the belly of it. So now we're sealing it with some strong plaster. We've already got we've got one layer already, so the plaster will sit in that layer, and then we'll be squishing a whole lot of plaster around the lid and sealing it in forever, like a time capsule, forever and ever, as long as it lasts. It's made of ferrocement, so it's a framework of reinforcing rod and 10 mil, and then 6 mil or fencing wire wound round and round and round, and then chicken wire 3 or 4 layers, and then plastered. And the plaster goes in the chicken wire mesh, and then we do another coat over the top of that, and we have 2 coats, and then another thin coat for colour, a different colour, so that we can accentuate the carving. So we'll be doing that on this once we've sealed the lid. So now the trick is to have plenty of plaster on the inside. So we're going to seal it with a wax seal, except it's cement, so no water can get in. And it'll be buried down about a foot with concrete, so it'll be there to stay down on the landing site, along with the Captain Cook Memorial and some other sculptures and some other giant gourds. So we'll Hayley and I will lift that on, record it for history. It only happens once, we hope. And so here we are at Peter Ara's Art and Dreamspace. So this has got some colouring in it. It's got like a kilogram of marigold colouring, which is a nice iron oxide. It makes it look like terracotta. So this is quite heavy. It's not going to go anywhere once it's in place. The concrete or plaster will seal it in for good. So it's just sitting there. And what we'll probably do next is, Hayley, if you go that side, and we'll lift it over. 1, 2, 3, go! Yep. There it goes. Oh. That's heavy. Right. Now we have to get some cement plaster right round.
Should I hold it?
Yeah, if you hold it, I'll plaster in that cement. Now this is not quite ordinary plaster. It's got a thing called fly ash or amorphous silica that helps to make it sort of plasticky, like mud, like clay. Yeah. So once this is in, it will be in. So it's like preserving. They used to preserve in fat. They'd have fat, and then they'd have birds inside, cooked birds, and they'd be preserved for winter, I suppose, eh? Yep. But they definitely had a lid. They put the lid over over this tokai thing. How's it look?
I think a little bit more on your side.
A bit more on my side, yep. We got so that's 1 bag of cement and about 1 bag of sand So, very strong mix. Now we just ease it round.
So is it the right way? There's one arrow.
Yeah, that's the arrow, and it's almost exactly right. So we just shift it, shuffle it along. You lift and shuffle a bit.
I've taken my fingers away.
Yeah. I'll
lift up a bit.
yeah, if you can.
Ow.
Lift up. Oh. Careful of your fingers. Yeah. Okay. So the things we do for art and making it so it'll last, because we don't want it to fill up with water. It has been full of water before. It's been full of water and strong as. Yeah, don't put any fingers in. There it goes.
Oh, wow.
Hear that? Hear that seal hissing? Oh, it's good. Now we'll stand on it. I'll jump on it.
Wait.
This is where the little kids will play. They'll jump on this, and so we just have to smooth off round with plaster. Yep, I'm happy. It's a ramp. You just have to seal around the edge now. Squish it in.
Look at that
We might
other
be-
plaster.
Oh, there's more. Good.
There is
good,
more.
Good. Yeah.
Maybe one more bucket?
Yeah. Because we'll. Oh. Get that on the floor. Whoa. That'll do. Just so that it keys in, you've got to rub, make sure it's not too dry or it stays on the surface. Rub the cement into plaster in. So that's been raked. That coat has been raked with a plasterer's rake to give it a good key. So those lines mean that it can stick into the one coat can key into the next coat. So all hand shaped circles of rebar, like in the other videos that I did on that. Oh. So this is Dreamspace Gisborne and Peter Era's art, and we've nearly done the hui. Hayley and I, we've done 6 after this one. The other ones haven't got pillars, the tripod. So this is my favourite one by far. So they're going on next week, we hope, onto the thing with a high-ab crane. We'll just take it away. They can lift up to about 7 tonne. So this would be about 1.5 maybe tons. So it's not as heavy as it might look, because it's like 1 inch thick, most of it, except for the pillars, which are solid. We squished the plaster right into those pillars. Bit more? Bit more? Oh, you wet me. No. Yeah,
That's not a brief.
That's a bit, yeah. Well, it's brief to some people. Some people would do it on for 3 seconds and wet me through. No, that's all good. Just got enough. Perfect. I can go around like that and get a better idea of just the final shape, and then I'll scratch it with the plasterer's rake. And now, when I'm at this stage and it's not so abrasive, I lose these gloves, which are kind of abrasive surface, and I have a smoother glove so I can smooth by hand, and that's a really good way of doing final smoothing by hand. for curves. So it's mostly all curves on the Ferrocement. Americans call it mud, we call it plaster. It's not cement, because cement is what you add to the sand, and it's not concrete, because concrete is always got aggregate, which is sand and gravel. So this is just sand and cement, so it's called plaster. The raking is quite quick and fun. So usually we do it when it's just going off and it's a little bit harder, but that's basically the idea. You can do patterns like that which are quite cool. Like you can do crisscross, so it's a little bit like, but this is still a bit soft. So you wait for a half an hour and come back, and it's just perfect for the raking. So that's called a key. It's keying it in. So it's like a key coat, I call it. So the final coat, of course, doesn't have any texture unless you want it to, which these had a final coat and they've had texture. And that was done with a little wee rake. No, fork. It was a kitchen fork. So when we put the next coat on over the top of another one, we always rub it in quite well so it sticks, so it keys in. If the plaster doesn't key in properly, you can hear this hollow sound when you tap it when it's dry, and you know it hasn't keyed in. So you want that to be solid, one piece, feel like one piece. Go home, wait for it to dry overnight, come back, put another final coat on, or second to final, and the final one will probably be a thin coat of just cement, no sand, and just cement and black colouring, black oxide, which is good for, that's what we did with this. We brushed on the black oxide, swished it on. So we're just forming it. It's quite like mud. It's quite like clay mud, except it hardens by not drying, but by chemical curing reaction. You have to keep it wet for 7 days or so. Spray water continuously so it stays wet, because it cures. It only cures when it stays wet. If it dries, it stops curing, and it never grows up. It never cures fully. Right. All over bar this side needs a little bit more coating, and then we'll do the raking, ready for the final coat to key in. Good.